Hey, board gamers, BJ from Board Game Gumbo here, back with another episode of Gumbo Live. It's episode number 152. Gumbo Live, we just got it in, Steve. The Nielsen ratings have come out. We are now, drumroll, the number one Facebook Live talk show at 8:30 on Tuesdays at John D. Clare's house. We just found out it's brand new stuff. We didn't even know. Our special guest tonight, Glenn Flaherty from Board Games and Bourbon. And let's face it, a bunch of other things. And we're going to get to all of those. But he's got his hands in all kinds of things. The Euro board gamers, there's lots of different places. Game designer, world traveler, musician. We're going to talk to Glenn tonight. Hit us up on social media, on Twitter or on Facebook or on Blueski, if you do Blueski, at Board Game Gumbo, or on Twitch at Board Game Gumbo. We'll be looking for your questions in the chat crew. Hey, but enough blather. Let's get right to our special guest. It's Glenn Flaherty from Board Games and Bourbon. Welcome in.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. I'm sorry to bring down the property value of your show, but I appreciate the invitation.
I drove all the way to the DMV last week to go visit with you, and you weren't even there.
No, sorry. I heard you were coming, so I moved.
You're like a part of the DMV culture. How did you move? How did this happen?
Oh, well, it was a lot of things. Wife's work and multiple other things, but I did do the whole trip in my pickup truck. That was fun.
I like it.
Yeah, going across the country.
Did you pick up Johnny Pack on the way?
Johnny Pack is actually not too far from me anymore. And RageCon is coming up. I'm going to see him. I'm going to be a speaker at RageCon up in Reno, and I'll be seeing my boy there. That'll be a fantastic thing.
So we're going to get to some of these other things, but I'm going to divert real quick because I just found out that Ben from 5 Games for Doomsday and Johnny Pack are going to be doing a little concert at RageCon.
They asked me to join, and I was like,
no.
No way.
Come on.
I haven't played music in so long. I got other things. That little baby takes it out of me. I you know what I play now? Coco Melon on repeat.
Right. All those little soothing things on YouTube to put people to sleep. Hey, before we get to anything else, give us the elevator pitch. You're a designer, so you know what the elevator pitch is. There's probably 1 or 2 people somewhere down in the Southern Hemisphere that haven't heard of Glenn or Board Games and Bourbon. So just for those
above
people,
the Mason-Dixon.
There are, below the Mason-Dixon. The DMV, Jay, the DC, Maryland, Virginia.
You did it. Yay. Hey, what's 2 plus 2?
Give us that. I'm not going to try.
Okay.
Not after that Woodford Reserve already had. So to spike the show. Hey, give us the elevator pitch. Who is Glenn Flaherty and what is Board Games and Bourbon?
Well, Glenn Flaherty is, I'm just a dude and I like talking about board games. So years ago, I had a segment on Dice Tower and I forget what it's called now. And
Swing, the sweet side of board gaming. Something like that.
The sweet spot. That's right. That's what it was called. The sweet spot. That's right. And that drove everyone crazy. I think Tom told me that was the most hated segment ever on the podcast. But I did that. And I told you the funny story of how that started. But then kind of like attached to that, I started a channel called Board Games and Bourbon. And that was great because I was just talking about stuff. And then from that, I needed a new challenge, and I ended up making board games. Yeah, better than Baby Shark.
Yeah.
and I started making board games. Siege of Valeria, which is that's Siege of Valeria. That's it. And there's expansions in different languages for it. And then I started developing games with other people. Working on some cool stuff at the moment. Then I got into marketing of the board games because I said, please, let's not let this game flounder. And so I help people do marketing. And then one person told another and another and another. And that's what I do full time now.
Steven Verla, I've got up on the screen right now the official BGG designer page for one Mr. Glenn Flaherty with Siege of Valeria, which I played, by the way. Fantastic game. We streamed it. We covered it. But what's missing? What is a giant just hole in this screen?
It's there to match the hole in my soul where purpose should be.
Glenn, you got to put at least some kind of picture up.
I know.
A guitar, maybe like you with the Guitar Hero thing.
I'm not really into being seen, even though I'm on video every week.
Yeah, look, I knew about, of course, Siege of Valeria because you and I chatted about it, and I want to thank you for sending us that prototype so we could play it. I didn't know you did a campaign for it, and I had no idea you did the expansion for the Artemis project.
I did.
Wow.
Those are some of the things. I'm surprised it's linked there. I wonder who did that. But there's going to be other things. And I should put a picture up there because, there's nothing better than someone clicking on a picture and then having your screen crack.
Look, he's got 4 fans. Johnny Pack is one of his fans.
I didn't even know you could be a fan. Oh, Scott. Scott's great. He tests everything. And then there's 2 other people. I should really have my glasses so I can read. Yeah, but Siege of Valeria.
We need to get this image. We need to get this image done.
That. I'll show you real fast. I told you it's in a few different countries. And they're making expansions and things. But maybe I'm not supposed to talk about that for a while. But here we go, an exclusive.
Can we talk about it?
Well, we are. Not a big deal. Different content, perhaps different modes. I don't know. But also, they're making official playmats and stuff for the game.
Oh, yeah.
There's the art. Oh, can't fit it in the camera. But
did the meat show do that also? But look, I got it ready now. You can.
Oh, okay. Is that how anyway? It looks really cool, and I can't figure out my camera.
Man,
it looks really cool. Sweet. It does look really sweet, and when you played on it, it really brings together the fight quality about it. So that's pretty cool. And then there's like dice trays, stuff, all that stuff. But anyway, so that's what I did: make games, and then I am, I do marketing for people. Moving up and on and trying to help people, a wide variety of people with their needs based on, whether they're spending $1,000 a day or $10 a day or whatever it might be, trying to do the best I can by them. And everyone's wonderful. So
give me the
there I am.
Does a designer, did you have any input in choosing the artist? Because it's the Micho, and I love the Micho's art. So did you have any input with that?
No, but I'm glad it was him.
Okay.
It was the game initially was instead of being enemies. It's funny how this game got signed. The baby was born. I was staying up all night. Mommy was exhausted, so I was on duty, make sure the baby didn't roll over in anything. And I was just watching like back to back, like Golden Girls and 30 something, like every episode of 30 something. Real heartbreak when that one guy died in that show. Oh, yeah. But I was like, I'm going to make a game. I was like, what do I want to do? What's fun? I was like, well, I like cards and I like dice. Let's put the 2 together.
You like combo? I like combos. This game is all about combos, man.
It's all about combos.
Combo-licious.
And yeah, it is. And I wanted something that wasn't too big, that I could put on the little table in front of me, and I didn't have to read a big fat rule book. So I kind of came up with it. And then I wanted to approach one of my friends who happened to be David at Daily Magic. And I wasn't even pitching him the game. I wanted him to just look at my sales sheet and tell me, is this have the information you would want to know as a publisher? And he said, yes, it does. And I want to sign it. I was like, oh, okay, awesome. So that was it. It just got signed. And so initially it was Space Ghosts. You were fighting off an invasion of ghosts. And then when you destroyed them, they took possession of your body, and then you absorbed their powers. And
nice.
Yeah. And so anyway, their theme was Valeria. And so he does the art for all of that. And so they changed a few things when they made it to kind of, like I say, like making a game is really a team effort. You would not believe the amount of people that go into making any game. I mean, everyone's involved. When you see that BGG score, man, that is like 15 people's work, but anyway, they changed out how it worked. One version of the game had RPG dice, and as you get stronger, you move up through the dice. Oh. But instead of doing that system, like practicalities, they're like, well, we already have these molds for these Valeria style dice, so we're going to use those, but so anyway, so like little adjustments like that were made. I used to have the mega bosses mixed into the middle, and that was really hard for people. So they made the base game have the bosses at the back, but when you get the campaign mode, then everything starts getting mixed in, and then it's tough again. Yeah.
And you did the campaign yourself, or was it a team
No,
effort?
Daily Magic did it. And that was actually my first experience with Kickstarter, really like behind the scenes of it. And I got to see how it worked. I had owned my own business for like 15, 17 years before that, doing marketing to the public, to governments, to private people. All, I even had a Yellow Pages ad at one point.
Oh.
And so, I did all of that. And so I had a marketing background, not necessarily in this field per se, but I know that you have to bring the tone and the consistency. And, when you are making board games, you're in the memories, the good feel good business, so you have to really make your every interaction with it really as top notch as you can. So I tried to bring that. Daily Magic in particular has a really strong fantasy world vibe. And so I try to bring that to their world too, through how we write in our newsletters and everything like that. And everyone has their own vibe. So, that company has that vibe. I work with Grand Gamers Guild. Mark, who owns that, is just a complete joyous family guy. And he is goofy as can be. And we try to bring that goofy out in him. You would not believe the dad jokes and Weird Al-ish world we live in over there, but it's a hoot. Eric's a great guy who has his own sensibility that we try to bring through. Sometimes I pitch in and I help write a little bit for Fantasia games and stuff like that. And there's some other little people, and even outside dad jokes, that's right up the street. Oh, well, you know what? I wrote jokes for this show. They're not great jokes, by the way. Maybe that's what makes them dad jokes. I wrote jokes too.
Oh, I'm ready. Throw them on us
later. But anyway, that's where we are.
You talked about the feel good vibes and all those things, and I'm looking at all these pictures, Glenn, and they're all taken by a bunch of different people. How does that? I mean, obviously there's the promo pics from Daily Magic, but you've got all these people that, I don't know, some of these people I'm sure you haven't even met, people from all over the world that get this game from Kickstarter and then just take the time to post the pictures. What does that feel like?
That is an awesome feeling, because it feels like validation maybe in some way. It reminds me a lot being in bands. Like, I can't believe anyone came to a show or bought a record. It's amazing that anyone wants to spend their time interacting with something I created, and it's, when you're in the world of board games, I mean, yeah, some people make money, but almost no one does. And you're in it because you love it. And so knowing that, there's a reality, you have to pay for stuff. I mean, things cost money. You're not, but it's great to see people enjoy themselves,
Why you talked about bands and you used to play music and all that. What's your thought on that? I always ask this question of every musician that's on the show, because I'm a musician and it's intrigued me. Why are there so many musicians that are also board gamers? Do you think that there's a correlation at all?
Oh, is there a correlation between gamers? I know there's a lot of there's a lot of musicians, board games, and bourbons, but I thought that was just because they're alcoholics.
No, Evan's a singer. Steve plays music. Verla knows a lot of songs.
Yeah, she's heard of songs before. That was
Marty,
like the most
Marty from Rolling Dice and Taking Names. He's in a band. Johnny Pack, incredible guy. Ben from 5 Games for Doomsday. Great guitarist, great singer. I mean, there's just so many musicians out there.
Well, I'll take it a step. Let me take a larger backdrop. Perhaps that I was just having this conversation with some people I was in a meeting with recently, that they asked me, why this position, that they're thinking about me for. Like, and I was like, is this your passion? I'm like, well, I certainly have enthusiasm for it, but on a larger scale, philosophically, I think, and take it from me as a younger person, I did music because it was easy. I was a kid and someone offered to make a record, and then going in a Econoline van sounded like a fun idea. But my dream was to be a painter. And I had some really nice opportunities, some very supportive mentors who hooked me up with great things. I got to meet Christo, if you've ever heard of the artist Christo, and Claudia DeMonte was great, and Lipinski, a lot of really wonderful people. But anyway, that wasn't in the cards. But painting, doing music, writing. I love poetry. Not that I write great poetry, but I certainly, I read it endlessly. And I think the drive for expression and creativity, it permeates. And so if there is a correlation, it's probably just because the want and the nature to express or to create or to have that outlet, it takes all its different forms. So whether it be creating games or doing a podcast where you can have, playful art with your words, or whatever it might be, it's just another way of satisfying. And music is totally self-serving. I mean, you do make it for yourself. It's wonderful when other people enjoy it, but it has to start here. That's the first metric. And so I think it's just natural expression of how anyone
Steve said in games and bands, we play with people. It's that community, being on stage, and you get that vibe when the crowd is really into a song or really
or you're watching them go out the back door.
Or that's the bad vibe.
That could definitely be part of it. The connection to people, maybe. So many times when I was on stage, I was so focused on not messing up the songs, and sometimes the lights are in your eyes and you can't even see anybody. But maybe if you're a better musician than I was, you would see people and have a good time. But I can totally see that being the case. There's certainly an element of the community, and I would say not community, but maybe the commune of it, that really makes it rewarding. So I would agree with that.
Well, our friend Patrick Newman's checking in, and Patrick says he listens to music. Does that count? And I think it counts. Don't you think, Glenn?
Well, I think you're trying to brag that you have ears. So, I mean,
so humble brag.
You humble brag right there. That would be totally something my mom would say. I listen to music. I remember a long time ago, I won some award. I forget what it was. I won some award, and it was on a video. I think it had to do with me.
Dice Tower segment contributor, number 1. Was that it? No.
Yeah. Yep. That must have been it. And whatever it was, I won. Somebody could comment, and my mom made the most mom comment to a grown man on this forum that was clearly must have been my mom, because the comment was something like, wow. I forgot the first part. She's like, wow, look at this guy. Watch out, Jay Leno. What does it even mean? But Mom, please. Yeah.
Well, I want to bring in Steve and Berla, because there's a big announcement today, and I kind of want we don't have to talk too long, but I kind of want to get some feedback from you guys. Hey, Steve. Hey, Berla. What's up?
Hello.
Hey, friends. Hey, dude and dudettes.
I've got Glenn here, Glenn from Boardgames Bourbon, and we're looking at the Spiel des Jahres nominations. They just came out today. I love talking about these things. You talked about awards, so it's a good segue to talk about awards in the board game industry. I think the Spiel des Jahres has a place here in America. There's been a roiling debate over there in Europe of what that place is. But the announcement for today about the nominations, and in the regular Spiel des Jahres, it's Captain Flip, In the Footsteps of Darwin, and Sky Team. Any comments? Any predictions from you three?
Captain Flip feels like a name that I give a really ornery guy who gets in a lot of arguments.
Captain Flip the Table would have been great, huh? I have only played Sky Team. I think played it about 4 or 5 times. You can play it on BGA, so I played it a couple times on BGA, but I've actually played it live in person too.
It was on there.
That's one I like.
I played Sky Team once in person, and I've played Captain Flip a couple times on BGA. The middle one I've barely heard of.
Steve,
I played 0.
Steve, our friend Dave Duga loves Captain Flip. I mean, he's.
I heard that Captain Flip was serving under Major Snarky. Is that correct?
Yeah.
I don't play games online much because the interface drives me crazy. And let me tell you, if I never played a game on Tabletop Simulator again, I would be totally fine, because
that's terrible.
Yeah,
Get on board Arena with us.
Has anyone ever played a game on TTS and been like, that was great?
No,
No, nothing feels fun. Johnny said
BGA
it
I do
great.
like though, Glenn.
you?
BGA I do like playing the games on there.
because
Yeah, the interface
okay.
is great there.
There are
Hey,
things that are better.
So I have a running bet with Time Roller because Time Roller plays everything. Time Roller,
Mhm.
have you played any of the Spiel des Jahres? Captain Flip, In the Footsteps of Darwin,
Good
Sky
question.
Team. I am going to say Time Roller has played 2 of the 3. That's my bet.
Agreed.
That's my bet.
Agreed. I'm on to.
Lock it in. Lock it in. So we'll see. This is a frequent occurrence on the show, Glenn. Or we call it Stump Timey. Can we stump Timey with a game that he hasn't played? It's only happened a couple of times. So back to list. So you haven't played any of these, right, Glenn?
Me? Well, you know what? If I had my glasses, I could read it.
Captain Flip, In the Footsteps of Darwin, and Sky.
Yeah, no, I haven't played any of those. You know what? I spend most of my time playing. There are games that I don't promote. So the publishers send me games I have to play. So I'm doing those all the time to even understand what I'm talking about. But I have played a few that
he's got a few there. So Glenn, our scoring, Steve and I were both right, 2 out of 3. Verla, did you bet? No,
I didn't.
you didn't. Yeah, I didn't. All right, how about the Kinderspiel? So that's the connoisseur's game of the year, Glenn.
Okay.
So that's Daybreak, the new cooperative game from Matt Leacock.
Yeah.
The Guild of Merchant Explorers, which actually came out a couple of years ago and was one of my top 6 games of the year. I love this game. It's Matthew
Me
Dunstan
too.
and Brett J. Gilbert. That's the same guys from what's the Greek mythology game?
Dingleberry Express.
No. Elysium, yeah. And then Ticket to Ride Legacy of the West. Spoiler alert, my top 3 game of the year.
Oh, nice.
Really we just finished the campaign last week.
Of Ticket to Ride.
Ticket to Ride Legends of the West. It's a legacy campaign that goes over 12 games. Designed by Alan Moon and Rob Davio together with Matt Leacock. It's really good. I really enjoyed it. So but
all the drama that Ticket to Ride can bring, huh?
Over 12 games. Can you imagine playing 12 games of Ticket to Ride back to back?
I don't think anything in life could get better.
I dug it. The storyline is there. I can't say that my game group, and we played it with the full play count, I can't say that my game group actually cared about the storyline at all. They just liked playing Ticket to Ride where we added a new rule every game. And that's basically what it is. It's like it's like playing Ticket to Ride with 12 expansions back to back to back. So
that's a tough one. When Ticket to Ride is not really a story-based game, it feels like you're forcing campaign onto something that is a one-off, a one-shot.
But it does make sense, and I won't spoil it. The story actually does make sense. Okay. So you have to trust me on that. But thematically speaking, they take the game and they take the setting and they say, okay, you're going to start on the east. I'm not spoiling because it's on the back of the box. You're starting on the eastern seaboard and you're going to try to connect. You're going to try to build out the map. So every map is a little different. And that's
kind of on the eastern seaboard. Is DC and Connecticut right next to each other?
Yeah, with Montreal right there.
Good.
It's like a 20-minute drive to Montreal. Yeah, exactly.
Faithful.
Although Louisiana doesn't exist in this game when you start.
Hasn't been purchased
there.
Okay,
they haven't even found it yet. So it's an unusual map. But hey, look, Jay says TTR. So I'm assuming DJ Bell has played that. So any thoughts on these 3? Because I haven't played Daybreak, but I've played the other 2.
I haven't played Daybreak.
I have Daybreak on the shelf unplayed. Unfortunately,
I admire people who have the wherewithal and the time to play 12 of any of one game. Like, I think I played the.
It took 7 months, Glenn.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing. Let me tell you why I don't play campaigns anymore. I don't really play campaigns, and I don't play escape room games anymore. Okay, twice I got an exit game, and they put the wrong rules in the book. Oh, it was a disaster. I didn't know what was happening. Drove me crazy. But I played, I think, Risk Legacy. It was packed wrong. That's Hasbro. I would just chalk it up to that. The wrong things were in the wrong places, and it didn't make sense. That's crazy. Then I played Pandemic Legacy 1. I really enjoyed it. But it might have been the second time I tried, or maybe it was Legacy 2 I bought. It took so long for me to organize my group to get together. And every time we played it, which was not like week after week after week. I had to read that whole rule book again to remember what all the itty bitty things were. And I was like, it was just too much for me. Going through like all the convolutions of what it was going to be. But I admire the people who can get through that. I am interested in Daybreak. I think Rob and who are those
Matt
designed
Laycock.
by? And
Yeah.
Matt. So I have Matt's Forbidden Jungle. Actually, Matt and I were just talking on Facebook the other day because he's in California too. And so I do want to check that out. I like Matt's idea, and I like that everything is, Forbidden Island, all those games, they're all kind of like just rubs on Pandemic, like that, which I really dig. My favorite Pandemic is actually Pandemic Cthulhu. It's probably their
always
easiest.
wanted to play that one.
It's just it is almost like if Arkham Horror is the big one, and then Eldritch Horror is down here, and then maybe Elder Signs, and then you got like Pandemic Cthulhu is a little easier. But I really enjoy it. I wish they made expanded content for that.
Cthulhu
That was a lot
and
of fun.
Iberia. That's the two that I've always wanted to play, and I haven't
Oh,
played either
yeah.
one. Yeah,
Cthulhu is a good one of that. It works well.
yeah.
It does. I
one
like the
was
theme a
fun.
lot.
Hey, we've got Glenn Flaherty from Board Games and Bourbon in here, and we're
Sorry.
talking spicy hot games. And one of those spicy hot games is a game I have played. Okay, so but I'm not even going to spoil it. I want to hear, Glenn,
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on De Vere's The White Castle? A
Well,
follow-up
now
to the
is
Red
this
Cathedral.
is this from my list of games?
This is from your list. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I must say you skipped my number one game that
I
I've played the most this year.
Did
Can you tell them what my most played game this year is?
Sky Towers, Guild Academies.
Keep trying.
Pull my finger.
That was my number one game I played this year. So White Castle. I actually, in general, I like De Vere games. Sorry, am I ruining your show with all that?
No.
Wait. Hold
I'm
my
laughing
finger.
at Evan.
That's a heavy euro, right?
It's definitely
Well, it can be depending on what stream you're on.
Steve, the setup is a bear. I'm
Yeah.
telling you, the setup of that
Oh
game.
yeah.
By the way, Evan says Pandemic Garfield Nurmul's Revenge is the best. That's what I was laughing about, Glenn. You got to keep an eye on Evan and Patrick because it's going to get we'll get some really good comments.
Awesome. Well, no, so like White Castle, okay. I bought White Castle because it was the follow-up to Red Cathedral. Okay. And
I don't like
actually,
these pictures. I'm going to go to my picture if you don't mind.
yeah, go to
ahead.
your pictures.
There we go. Yeah,
There
look
you
at
go.
That's how you take a picture, bro.
And your mom is like, those are the best pictures ever.
She
And
posted a comment about it. Oh, I think it was
BJ, you're so handsome.
her. I'm not sure,
so-
but I think it was her.
So yeah, so I thought it was a pretty okay game. I thought I saw some comments saying like, is this like the ultimate Euro? No.
Hmm.
But you know what? I'm not sure there is, of course, right? Because a big part of it, enjoying any game is it a new experience, right? And so it's like music too. Some people will be like, music's getting worse. Well, I would probably more say people are searching for new experiences. So that's kind of where music goes. And I think this was a new experience. It definitely has a decision point at every single turn in the game. I did not think the setup was too bad. And I thought the game lent itself beautifully to playing multiple times in a row. Because I thought the games themselves actually went pretty quickly. It's only 9 turns total, 3 per round per player. And when you play solo, I think you're playing as 2 people. The AI and the solo is just flipping a card. Super easy to do. I certainly have not mastered it. But I did like it for leaving it out on a table and playing it multiple times in a row. So definitely gets a thumbs up for me. I'm glad it's in my collection as a whole. I do enjoy the De Vere games because whether it's dead on or not with my personal, enjoyments and proclivities, let's say, the development and everything really does go thoroughly through it to make sure everything is top notch. And this is so much game for $40. I think the MSRP is $40. You can probably get online for $32. That's a ton of game, man. That's a ton of game.
And it's a small box, same size as Red Cathedral or Bamboo or any of those small box games. And then you start pulling all the components, Steve, and it's amazing. You get these little bridges, and that's to me kind of the hook of the game. We've seen games where you can, it's a typical worker placement in one fashion. and you're building out the locations. We've seen games like that right before, Steve, but the bridges, I think, are what makes the difference. You have to choose the dice based on the placement in the bridges, and every choice you make slides those dice to give other people the choice to pick those dice. And I like games like that where you're really agonizing over, am I going to take this certain number, but that's going to leave Burla something better, so.
There's have you played this before, White Castle?
I have once.
So there's a ramification in there too, where the first round affects the other rounds because
there's no copyright here, Evan. You're safe to say meeples, so we're okay.
Where you might want to die. First round, you might want to die and you take it off. But what happens from there is you have to look at what's left, because if you empty one of the bridges of the die that are on them, any individual die, that means the worker that you have in that location will not activate, because ultimately you end up putting workers around the bridges. Like in this picture, you see 2 orange workers by a bridge. If those 2 white dice are removed, those workers don't activate at the end of the round. So
Right.
you might want to die. That's perfect. But if you don't take it, you can't activate your meeple, your sheeple, your Anna meeple weeple. And, then you're out on a limb, so that's kind of cool. It's a mathy game. That theme, whatever that theme is, goes right out the window as far as you start playing, though. I don't know what it is. I still don't know what it's about. But as soon as I was like trying to do the math of the whole thing, the theme goes right out the window. So
yeah, I got to be honest. I didn't quite get the theme, but that's, I love when a game is thematic, but it doesn't have to be,
So I was just talking about, I hope I don't put you on too many tangents, and I hope I'm not too much of a chatty Cathy here. But, okay, I was reading a review, and I think it was one of the games I helped publish, and it was like, or maybe it wasn't, but it said when, you know what it said? It wasn't
I
a game
saw your comment, by the way.
Right,
I was
and it
talking about this last night on Twitch, but go ahead.
Okay, yeah, and it was whatever game I was reading about. I think it was the game I was interested in getting, and it said if you can get past the fact that the theme is pasted on. I was like, dude, okay, maybe, but come on. You get all these games. I know they have themes. I understand some more than others, but all games boil down to numbers, pushing cubes, resource, swapping. So at what point, I will ask the panel, say ye, at what point does a game's design make you not say, okay, this theme is pasted on, or, would say like, this theme is not pasted on? What would trigger that reaction in you?
Verla? When is the theme just, it doesn't really matter at some point, right?
Like, what's an example of a game you've played where you're like, boy, that theme integrates perfectly?
I have got a couple of examples, and surprisingly, they are heavy euros. A game like Tricarion, which looks on the surface like a blob of paint and just a bunch of stuff. If you play the game enough, you start recognizing that I'm building up these little tricks, and I'm trying to present them, and maybe to do the best tricks, like in the Prestige, maybe I want to go to the dark side to get those tricks done.
And then, like, if you pull off that combo, a bunny appears out of the box.
Exactly. No, that's not going to happen. But I do get the sense of getting some magician things going. I played Neotopia, and Neotopia has some kind of futuristic city building, blah blah blah. It didn't matter. It's just a bunch of colors,
Right.
So,
yeah.
but the game is still fun. I don't always need the theme to be there.
I don't think having fun and theme are necessarily related at all. But I almost feel like, and maybe it's now because I help design and develop games, I feel like I'm seeing through the matrix, like past the pictures to the math behind it. And that's all I really see going on.
Oh, Newman's got a good one. Distilled. There is some thematic sense there, I think.
Well, I got to tell you, as much as I like distilled, I am into bourbon. And so I'm like, you cannot put this into a kettle and come out with either bourbon or vodka. That is not how it works.
It's true. It took some license.
All these are abstractions. Every game is abstract at its basic level. It's an abstraction of something.
Well,
it either tries to have some kind of theme to it that is evocative, But I think you cannot have it because a game is not a simulation. It's not trying to perfectly capture what was going on. So I do think that at the basic level, there are mechanics and every theme is somewhat painted on. It's just that some painters are better than others.
I like what Timey said, but I'm gonna twist it just a little bit because I heard somebody say this the other day and it struck with me. What Timey's saying. When what you're doing as an action makes you feel or think you're actually doing the thing it represents. And I get what he's saying. If you tweak it just a bit, when what you're doing as an action reminds you of what you're doing as part of that action, that to me makes thematic sense. So when in a push your luck game, the shuffling of something reminds you of stirring up a pot and pulling something out, that's where it's like, okay, the mechanic makes sense. In fact, I don't even have to look at the rule book. I know that at this stage of the game, I have to do that. That's where I like when theme, the theme of a game ties in with mechanics, because each little step, so with Lisboa, when you're pulling cubes off the corners in Lisboa, it could be just an abstract pulling of the cubes, but in your mind that you're taking off fire, you're taking off water, you're taking off this rubble, and you're making things cheaper to build after that once it's done. That makes thematic sense to me, Like, well, of course, if you clean the city up, it's going to be cheaper for other players to go there.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Some are integrated better. Like I will say, like I think
give me thematic fidelity or get out of town.
What is that? Not Tuscany. What's it called? That wine
Viticulture.
Viticulture.
Mm-hmm.
That to me is like whenever I've gone to a vineyard, like, oh, okay, they're gonna have the wedding pavilion over here, or you're gonna till the land and take that out, that kind of thing. And so that, not a winery, but a vineyard. Yeah, totally. Yeah, I thought that tied in very well. But anyway, I just thought that was a great question. Like, at what point does it make you think, okay, this is not pasted on? Even though, yes, I guess if you really look at the nitty gritty, everything, of course, is pasted on. No one is going to be like, oh my goodness, I just pushed my cube up here. Now I know how to make wine, so.
Way more than $2. Hey, BJ from Boardgame Gumbo, got my guest here, Glenn Flaherty from Board Games and Bourbon, and we're talking spicy hot games. And I want to talk to Verla about a game because this game has been recommended for the Spiel des Jahres, and all I know is that I'm seeing everybody post about it on social media, including a lot of chatter in our little chat group about it. But I don't know anything about it. Glenn, do you know anything about Harmonies? If not,
I never even heard of it.
I'm going to turn it over to Verla. And Verla, tell us what Harmonies is all about.
Harmonies just appeared out of nowhere. I don't think it was on Kickstarter. It was just all of a sudden out in retail and everybody was posting about it online. I don't have a copy yet, but I've had a chance to play it 3 or 4 times with some friends' copies. I've been describing it as Reef and Cascadia have a baby and put it in a calico crib.
Nope.
So
well, I like all 3 of those games. So
I like all 3 of those games. I have all 3 of those games and still feel like I need Harmonies on my shelf because it's just fantastic. It's got these big, gorgeous, colorful, chunky pieces that represent like water and fields and mountains and buildings and whatnot. But you've got these animal cards with super, super adorable, gorgeous art that have goals on them for how you're trying to lay out the little tiles. Oh, it's also kind of like Azul because you've got this centerpiece that you're getting your pieces from. And it's very reminiscent of Azul's little, what do they call them? They're factories, I think they call them.
Oh, the factory tiles?
Yeah. Just the way you take them. I guess you don't have them going in the middle, but you take from a factory basically, and then it gets refilled. It plays really quickly. You've got a board, so you're limited, and it's 2-sided with different designs on it for the way you can play it. But there's just lots of replayability with it. You're building up 3D and kind of scoring from a bird's eye view, like in Reef, and trying to get different combinations based on the animal cards that you select to have your little ecosystem in harmony with everything around it. So
I'm glad this game is getting attention. Not necessarily for the game itself, but I know like if you have like something that's offbeat or not like the darling, a lot of great games get overlooked, So I'm glad that it got attention. Oh, that's really cute. This little faces on top.
That is super adorable.
Yeah, that's great.
Hey, thanks for checking in, Nacho Luke. Some of us are from South Louisiana. But the other three are not from South Louisiana. So
The rest of us are from North and West Louisiana.
the other three are from. If you've been to Montreal, you've basically been where they.
Yep.
Basically.
So that's hard. Did the little silly eyes come with the game, or is that just
No, that's somebody's cute picture.
Oh, okay. I was like, wow.
'Cause
Man,
you have little cubes. So your cards will have 2 to 4 spaces to put cubes on them when you take the card. And then when you fulfill that card's little mission of how you've placed your tiles, you take a cube off. And so the highest you get with taking your cubes on is how much you'll score at the end of the game for each card.
Neotopia doesn't have the cube part, but it's got the same put out the color tiles, and you're trying to match the cards in your hand or the cards in the market. So, I mean, I like games like that because there's always I'm helping you, but I'm really helping myself. But
also kind of reminds me of a game called Garinto from that description. Of course, it might be different when I play it.
I've heard the name of that, but I've never played it either.
It's about stacking things and things move, and you're trying to, complete cards and stuff like that.
Okay.
It's very photogenic, Verla, by the way.
Very much so.
Yes.
Yeah, and I like the artwork.
The artwork is gorgeous. The colors are lovely. Those tiles are just so satisfying and chunky. And
So in the picture I have in that corner, that the black tile
thing,
with all
that's where they put. That's like the factories that I was talking about. That they put.
It looks like it'd
on.
be a good gift game that you could pick up from Barnes and Noble.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
But it kind of drives me crazy though. So I know, Glenn, you and I were talking off the air that you play a lot of games, but you don't always watch a lot of YouTube or anything like that. And I spend an inordinate amount of time just watching and consuming board game content. And then a game like this gets not only recommended for the spiel, but everybody's playing it this week, and I've never heard of it before. Stuff like that just drives me crazy. How does that happen? How does it happen?
Please tell me. I
don't live in Germany.
This. Yeah. Who knows?
I don't live in Germany. That's what it is. You can't see everything. But
that's a good point, BJ. You don't live in Germany.
I don't.
That's
I
deep.
don't live in Germany.
That's your new tagline for the show.
I'm repeating that. That's the tagline for the show. We don't live in Germany. It's just, the jury gets access to some of these games that we just don't see at all. And then a game like Merchants of oh my God,
Guild of Merchant
Explorers. A game I still play, by the way. I played it last month. I pull it out every few months and we get it played. But
me too.
How did that one get? I mean, it seems like it's been out for years, right?
That one was a 2022, according to BGG. So I'm very curious how that one made it on the list.
I know that they have kind of like a 2-year window, roughly speaking, and it's got to be, in other words, unlike the BGG awards or the Dice Tower awards, when the game comes out that year, it has to meet certain requirements. Number one, it's got to have it's got to have a lot of copies in circulation.
Release.
So Harmonies has a lot of copies in circulation
out there.
Fast? Oh, okay.
Out there, it's got to have a German language release. So it's got to be in that area. It's got to fit all the criteria for the award itself.
Right.
And then they have this window of 2 or 3 years.
Right.
So you see these late catch up.
It's not like the Oscars in that sense. You could be a really great movie that's released this year, but still be eligible for the Oscars in 2025. So
make sure it doesn't get caught in your packing tape.
It might be
it's on the floor. I just race across right in front of me. Sorry, guys.
All right. Well, I'm looking at the time. I want to make sure we talk about the big game tonight. So, hey, Board Gamers, BJ from Board Game Gumbo here. I've got my guest Glenn Flaherty from Board Games and Board Games and Bourbon. I almost said Board Games and Gumbo, which is actually
that's
Bourbon and
breakfast.
Gumbo. Bourbon and Gumbo. That's breakfast for your head. I mean, when you think about it. But we're talking about spicy-eyed games. And one of those is a game that I got to play a lot, but I can't play it anymore, Verla. I can't play anymore, Steve, because I had to send off my prototype.
Bummer. Sorry. Yeah, there was only a few in copy. I kept mine, though. Where did I just put it up here?
I think I sent mine to Jerry from the Board Game Snobs. I think that's who got it next. So
cool.
Look for somebody from the Board Game Snobs, hopefully playing it soon. But that we're talking about mixtape from... I say Talon Strikes, but I think it's Talon Strikes little mini imprint. Isn't that right, Glenn?
So they basically are just calling their quick, fast, small box games the Quick Strike series. And so this is the first one.
Timey's got the scoop. The German edition of Guild didn't come out until 2023, so that makes sense.
Cool.
So yeah, tell us about mixtape.
Well, mixtape is okay. There was we've been having people compare it to a lot of games. To me, it is kind of in the world of like if you've ever played Race the Galaxy, San Juan, even 25th Century has a new game called Big Sur, where you're
I see the Big Sur comparisons, by the way.
Yeah, where you are playing cards. The cards in your hand pay to put cards out. The cards synergize, they activate. But I will tell you, theme integration is pretty wild. So first of all these cards are cassette tapes for making mixtapes, right? All these individual songs. Now, the interesting thing
you got to tell the kids what a tape and a cassette tape is, Glenn.
Well, see, back in the day,
I don't know
when
if
you
Merlin
would get
Steve are
all
old
the
enough
balls
to
to the left on your abacus, you would get out your chisel and then you would make a tape. And so, like, what happens is the game has these cards, and the cards have powers, and they essentially lift your levels, your faders on this fader board, which is really, really cool. So there's this fader board where you push the sliders up and down on it. And they give you different abilities. You put cards next to each other so you can see like this card is blue. This one has just a little strip of blue. And when they're next to each other, they'll activate a little bonus on the card when you align them the right way. But then like in true form with cards, there's a side A and a side B. And even though you got powers and you have abilities and you have things you can take advantage of, which side and the timing of when you're activating your sides all come into play. There are love notes that you wrote. Let me see. I have my whole box over here. I really should be more prepared.
By the way, the mechanics, Steve, of the A-B thing, because you're building your tape on one side and you want to run the engine. Like engine builders, right? We love those games.
Yeah,
but what if you can only run the
builder.
engine when it's on the right side of the tape?
Right.
Yeah.
And then like in the game, kind of like an old Trapper Keeper, you have like these love notes that you're trying to complete, for points. It's a really
again. I've got you up on the screen now.
There you go. So where's my camera? Yeah. So you have like these love notes and you're trying to complete these different things. Like you'll get 3 points if you get music. Now that's supposed to be a keyboard, even though it looks like an accordion. I play an accordion, by the way. And so then you got all these different things. And then like, as you have love notes, you score more points. So there's a lot of really cute mechanics in it and it plays very well. It's not necessarily the lightest game either, but I must tell you, one of my favorite parts of this game is every song card has a name and it has an artist on it. So this card here, let's see if I can hold it up and get it to focus. If not, will that focus? No. This card here, let's see if you can guess it. It is Sweet Chili of Mine by Rifles and Tulips.
Yeah, I love that.
All right, I'm going to ask you one. Tell me if you know this one. See who this compares to. Are you music fans? I know you listen to music.
Oh, yeah.
Require You This Evening.
I Need You Tonight.
Yes! By INSR Plus. Right?
In excess. I love that song.
In excess.
All right, here's another one. Now, you're not going to know this until I read the name of the band, though. Gasoline is the song, but it's by Rock Palace Flyers.
Stone Temple Pilots.
Yeah, you got it. Vaseline. Good.
Oh, Vaseline.
This is too easy, of course. The High Ground by Freaking Hot Vegetables.
Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Isn't that great? I love this one.
Which song is it?
The Higher Ground.
Yeah.
Higher Ground. Okay.
Yeah. This was The High Ground.
Oh, okay.
And then this last card here is Insane in the Drain by Conifer Ridge.
I don't know that one.
Insane in the Membrane.
Yeah, but Conifer Bridge. Come on. Who is that? It is Cypress Hill.
Cypress Hill.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. All right. That really touched to the core of Verla.
Lots of dad jokes and puns.
Oh man, it's great. Hey, and I did have do I have a joke here? Let's see.
Does it come with the pencil to be able to rewind?
Oh, that would be a brilliant first player token.
It needs a
love
new
that.
mechanic. Yeah, that would be your first player token to rewind. With the
Oh,
button.
you got to talk to Eric Alvarado about that. Hey,
I
we need a
will.
pencil in there. Yeah, we need
All
a
right,
pencil.
BJ.
Great idea.
What do you call a large serving of stew for elephants?
A large serving of stew for elephants. No, you got me.
A jumbo dumbo gumbo.
What? I should have known that one.
That was awful.
That's a good
I
one.
apologize. And then a bit of trivia for Verla.
You're not really
dear.
sorry, Glenn.
I'm not sorry. But
What do you got for me?
I will always love you. Verla, from 1931 to 1995, Chrysler produced its longest lasting car brand that was considered a personal luxury model to compete with Lincoln and Cadillac. What was the name of that car?
Please be a LeBaron.
It was the LeBaron.
Oh,
That's
yes!
right. Now, to further that for you, the LeBaron was not only a car, but is also known as the lowest order of British nobility.
LeBaron.
So, I mean, you're classy, but, it's still
what
there.
can I say?
Yeah. Oh, there you go. That's all I got for you.
Welcome
all the
to-
jokes I saw about being in Louisiana, I was like, lame-o, shrimp jokes.
It's trivia
don't
night
be
here on Gumbo
shellfish.
Live. Oh yeah, shrimpies. We love the shrimp jokes. We got into a big fight last night about whether gumbo is a soup or not. So
Really? And who was the fight
I'd like to hear
between?
some jokes. I like to hear some jokes.
Was it between you and like the bowl of soup itself, and you're arguing back and forth?
No, another Cajun buddy of mine. We're playing a game, and somebody from England wanted to know what is this gumbo thing that you guys keep talking about.
I can't really remember. I've driven a lot of places when I would play music. I don't know if I was ever in Louisiana or not. But
play jazz fest?
No, but I used to be a jazz player. I would actually play bossa nova, and on the other end, like heavy metal, like wherever I could get the gigs. But I remember being in Gainesville, and which had nothing at the time. This is decades ago. I'm driving
Tom
around.
Petty's hometown.
Oh, yeah, it is. Driving around. Boy, you really know where your people are from. Look at you. Watch out, Jay Leno.
I know a lot of useless musical trivia.
Yeah, that's right. And so, I was in Gainesville, and I was like, all right, I'll take somebody selling food here at the side of the road, this shack. And so I pull up, and I was like, yeah, I'll have. And I'm looking at their menu, and I was like, I'm going to live a little. When you're someplace new, you go on vacation, you don't want to stay in a resort. Experience the place. Okay, I'm in Gainesville. I'm going to eat what you got. What do you got? And they were serving alligator and frog's legs. And I was like, you know what? YOLO. And I said, so I was like, is this correct that you have alligator's leg? And she of course, they only had Michelob Light as the beer, that kind of place. But anyway, she goes like this, and she points out the window, and there's a guy who just pulled a gator out of the swamp, and he's like, chop, 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 chop. I was like, oh, okay. And then the frog legs were just as fresh. I ate it. I can't say that it tastes like chicken, though. I can just tell you that it tastes like swamp water.
I do like frog legs. Alligator, it depends on how it's cooked, but I do like the frog legs.
Oh, okay. Well, I will never stay around to smell your breath.
I haven't eaten them in a while, so it's been a while.
Fine.
All right, so what else is going on with Mixtape? It's coming out on, let's see, I've got it right here.
I will tell you, we're aiming now because Eric is a perfectionist, and he's always trying to put the final touches on the games. And I think
Alligator's fine. Wouldn't pay a premium for it, but it's all right at a fair price.
Okay.
Thank you, Cosmo.
Is it chewy? Is it tough and chewy? Because that's
depends
what
on
I
how
would
it's cooked.
imagine.
Yeah, it depends on how it's cooked.
Okay. Well, for the next time you have alligator, now you're prepared.
Okay.
And don't pay a premium for it. Go to Costco for your alligator.
Costco for everything.
Yes. Tell me, I can barely afford food out here. Okay, so we're aiming for June 25th. We're thinking when we're gonna launch it. So not too long from now. Putting final touches, getting everything in the right place. But I will tell you, the game is I think it's like $19 to $20. That is nothing.
Yep.
And this is so much game for that money.
Yep.
We talked a second ago about how DeVere with Red Cathedral and White Castle, red, white. The next game's going to be blue, something. But so much game for that $40 price point with DeVere. Let me tell you, you have never gotten so much game for $19 in Mixtape, and that's the price we're aiming for. So we're going to see.
There's a lot of game in this little tiny box. So
there really is, and the production's getting even better than the prototypes. So
You can hit the Kickstarter page. You can actually just search mixtape. It'll come up with this page here. You can hit the notify me, and you will find out as soon as Talon Strikes launches this project. I've played it a bunch. I do like it. I like the engine building part, and I love the little
Winter Moon, who's a great guy. Winter Moon Games. He actually just started a YouTube page. Great work. Super friendly guy. He gave it a 10 out of 10. He's like, this is amazing. I was like, you are the man, because I will tell everyone that you think it's 10 out of 10.
Right.
Yeah.
It needs a better how-to video than the one that you were joking around with the other day.
Well, I thought I edited it up pretty well.
You did a great job to fix the sound.
Thank you there. You hear that, Eric?
Yeah, you did a great job fixing the sound. Yeah.
All right, cool. Hey, man, thank you so much. I know we're getting close to the ending, but in case I get cut off, I want to tell you how wonderful it is to be here. Verla is such a long-time friend in all of our groups, and it's
she's
good
the
to
board
talk
game
to
ambassador.
her. Yeah, she is.
She has a special name here, though, Glenn. Steve will tell you that name.
Oh, she is the board game overlord. We work for her.
Yeah, she's the Gumbo overlord. Gumbo overlord. Steve's rusty.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, this is a board game show, Glenn.
Yeah, it is.
Do you know what that means?
That it's a board game show.
We got to play a board game.
Oh, okay. Let's play a board game.
Yeah, we're not done yet.
Okay.
Look at this. Timey followed the kick. It right there, Glenn. Come on the show. You got to follow.
Yes. Time Roller. Right.
Thank you, Time Roller. Time Roller. Time Roller, by the way, if you haven't checked this out, he's got a great Twitch channel.
Is that a real person?
Yeah, Timey.
Oh, okay.
He streams almost
like your animated mascot, like the little paper clip for like Microsoft.
Time Roller streams all the time. Almost every night he's got all kinds of different games. He's either unboxing games, learning games, teaching games, or actually playing through games. And it's tough to stump Timey. He plays a lot of board games. So.
I love witnessing passionate people. That's great to hear.
I like the Twitch community from that aspect, where everybody kind of follows each other. And like last night, we had a little small stream, and then all of a sudden, Steph Hodges finishes her stream. She raids into another person. They jump in and they raid. So all of a sudden, 25 people just rush into the stream, and they're all chatting at the same time.
That's
and it's just
great. Steph's great too.
Yeah, it was really good. All right, but it's time to play a board game, and that's what we're doing here on the show. In a time-honored Gumbo Live tradition, Steve, we're playing a brand new game we haven't tested before.
That does sound like us.
It's called, and Verla, I was thinking of some kind of catchy name that Glenn would probably want to market, maybe do a board game. It's called Cardboard Bourbon Steward Certification. It just kind of rolls off the tongue, don't you think? Yeah.
Smooth.
So what I didn't know, Glenn, is that we've got sommeliers, right? Those are people that are certified to tell you what to want.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about the country. Go ahead.
No, not that one. There are bourbon stewards. You can actually get certified to be a bourbon steward. And that way, when you go to a restaurant or you go to a place, you can help people pick out the bourbon that matches with the meal that they're eating. Right. So I thought, why don't we start our own cardboard bourbon steward certification? I'm going to give out some drink pairings. And then the three of you are going to each tell me what board game we should play with that one.
You should call the segment Tuesday Night Hobos.
I didn't know if you showed up late, Berla. So if you're not ready with some games, if you want to be the judge and listen to these two guys duel back and forth, or if you want to contribute, I'm happy either way.
All right.
It's a good question because I did not have a chance to.
Come on,
this
do
over.
it.
I thought this was like our other game, but if you don't mind, I'll throw stuff in.
Yeah.
Off the top of my head.
That'll be the best.
All right. So Glenn, Steve, and Berla, do we understand how the game works?
Yep.
All right.
Sure.
Yes.
I throw out the drink. I give you some clues about the drink, and you passionately take turns and tell us what board game would be.
We understand how the game's going to work until you change the rules in the middle of it. So
come on. Ahead. It is Gumbo Live, right? Okay, so here's the first one. The first drink, Steve. I had to go with something just classic.
Sure.
Right? The classic old fashioned. You got to start with the classic. It's sugar with bitters, some water. Add your favorite bourbon, and garnish with that orange slice and a cherry. Okay, so Glenn.
Yeah.
What board game would you play with old fashions?
Well, if you enjoy old fashioned, you're probably divorced. And so you're playing a solo game. Like, not realizing that you're crushing alcoholism is why your wife left you.
Oh God.
And so you're at home and waiting for the sweet embrace of death. and you play a Siege of Valeria.
While you're waiting to die.
Yeah.
Okay. Siege of Valeria.
Nothing to look forward to.
Oh, this is why we brought Glenn on the show.
Wow.
Sorry.
It got dark fast.
I'm loving it. Okay. Steve, you're up.
Oh my goodness. Can I go back to being a judge?
Yeah.
No, too late, Berla. How do you top that?
That is so shocking to me. I want people who are on the verge of death to continue playing my game.
But, yeah.
And this will send them off into the great beyond.
Their last thing they see is board game Gumbo live. And they're like, wow, that was it.
Okay, I'm ready. I'm ready now.
I wish I had more time to play with Siege of Valeria. I'm ready to go now. Yeah. All right, Steve, what you got?
I took old-fashioned literally and just went with old school card games that somebody would probably play in my family. Because again, they don't tend to want to play the same games I do. So I picked an old school trick taker like euchre. Just take something that has been around forever, like the old fashioned's been around forever. And that's going to be the way that you kind of pair them and match them that way. Maybe that brings them back from the brink. Maybe that's a way of saying, have this drink, play this game, step away from the light. Come back to us.
Come back to the dinner table.
Yeah.
Berla, you've heard.
I was tracking along Steve's train of thought and thinking like bridge or canasta. Those aren't board games, and we're talking old fashioned, exactly like you said. That's what popped into my mind. If it needed to be a board game, old fashioned, classic, I was going to go with Carcassonne.
Okay.
That's solid.
Very genteel.
Solid. Hey,
you live in a happier world than I do. I really appreciate it.
Berla, not a lot of rules, right? Not a lot of ingredients in old fashioned, just simple.
No, but a lot of mothballs.
All right, so Tommy, pick one of those while I'm also thinking about which one I'm going to pick. We've got chat crew. We've got Siege of Valeria with the old fashioned, or a card game like euchre, or uke as we say here in Louisiana, uke, and then Carcassonne, a classic cardboard, right? Okay. You guys are making it tough here, but I got to go with Steve on this one. I was thinking just classic cardboard, some kind of classic card game that everybody knows. And you're drinking the old fashioned. So I'm going to give the point to Steve on this one.
Okay.
I'm going to give it. Oh, and Time Roller is with me. He says,
okay.
So my mom says you're wrong.
Steve, you keeping track of us?
I'll keep track of it. We're doing one point per.
Yeah, just 1 point. 1 point for Steve. Cool. And Steve, because you won, you get to choose which
I get to
the
pick
other
the
one.
next one from the list.
Yeah.
Okay, let me look back at this. Let's do number 4 that you had there, BJ.
Number 4, the Rooster Cocktail. Everybody, probably Glenn, I'm boring you with this because you probably have one every night, the Rooster Cocktail. You get back from the drive in LA and you're like, I need a Rooster Cocktail. Well, just to remind everyone else besides Glenn, it's the kosher salt, just for the rim, lime wedge, bourbon, cinnamon schnapps, and of course, sarsaparilla. Gotta have that sarsaparilla.
Cinnamon schnapps sounds like a nice way to raise the credit score of like Fireball or whatever college kids drink.
All right, so
moving on.
Fireball. Berla, you want to go first on this one? Do you have something, or do you want Glenn to go first?
Glenn's
got something prepared.
If you go with the Rooster Cocktail, my immediate thought is I want to play chicken, that dice rolling, push your luck game.
Boo.
Sorry.
Chicken. Steve, do you want to judge this time since you won, or do you have something prepared?
No, I got stuff. You can keep going, or do you have stuff that you want to add to it?
I was going to let you judge. No, you know what? You go ahead. Yeah, if you got one, I'll judge.
I was actually going just like Time Roller was. And I heard Rooster and I heard sarsaparilla and I thought old school Western. I went Rooster Cogburn, John Wayne, old school like that. So I'd say bang.
Bang the dice game. Oh, yeah. Glenn. That's a tough one. We've got bang the dice game. And
Western theme kind of thing there.
Sarsaparilla is cool. But that schnapps, that just reminds me of like high school. And so I don't know, I'd be like playing beer pong with that one. But
some green apple schnapps back in high school.
Just like you, me, and Mad Dog 2020. Right. So I'm gonna go with Happy Salmon. That's a fun game. I'm probably having a party. Probably just got off my shift at 7-Eleven, and I'm ready to have a good time.
All right, so let me recap.
Start with a Jolly Rancher.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so Steve, you went with...
I went with Bang.
Bang, the dice game.
And Verla went with...
Chicken.
The show's going to be the end of my career.
And Glenn went with...
Happy Salmon.
Happy Salmon. All right, you got a tough one, Tommy Roller. Time, what do you think there? We got Bang, Chicken, and Happy Salmon. I would have personally gone with Viticulture because of the wake up element with the rooster. I was thinking.
I thought about that one first thing, but we'd already talked about Viticulture.
Congratulations, Verla. You win. Timmy says.
Thank you, Timmy.
Chicken tastes like Yahtzee. Boo! That's all I say. And I know DJ Bell's gonna watch this later and go, "Oh man, BJ's dogging on the chicken." I didn't get that game. That game just went. Like, what are we doing in this game? Just rolling dice and just like I'll roll again.
Yeah, it's great.
I didn't get that game. I'd much rather play Can't Stop anytime. So, but Can't Stop is life, right?
I played the biggest game of Can't Stop at Chris Whitpan's house. He was a great guy, and he had a talk show format for his.
We've had him on the show, haven't we?
In the bar.
Yeah. Oh man,
that show. I used to love watching
that. He's the best. I actually I think when I had the baby, I shut down my Facebook and then I restarted it, but I lost all my friends, so I have to find everyone again. But oh man, I love Chris. He is so generous and quick-witted. But yeah, he had like a lawn-size version of it that was amazing. It's a really fun game. That's fun time.
Sounds awesome.
You're picking next. Which one of these do you want to do? You have it open?
Now I do. How about the Belmont Jewel with bourbon, lemonade, and pomegranate juice?
I like it. The Belmont Jewel, bourbon, lemonade, and pomegranate juice. Let's go to Steve first this time.
Oh, okay. Well, give me a choice here. I was thinking you could go horses with this, but I went with Jewel instead and just said diamonds.
Oh, diamonds. Okay.
Another card game there that has something that kind of represents that jewel there that kind of sparkles.
I approve. Diamonds, good game. Fun. My mom never quite grasped it, but we love that game. Tommy's played that one. Okay. Glenn, what you got?
Well, I'm looking at a picture of it right now, the Belmont Jewel. It's pretty. It's pink.
Mixtape?
Oh, you know what? No. You know what? Hold on a second. Ovation.
Okay.
I don't know that one.
Don't know that one either.
Ovation was a Kickstarter game. Grand Gamers Guild is doing the US distribution of it. And it's about making music. It had a real successful Kickstarter. It's very cute, very fun. And it totally picks up on the color vibe of it. It'd be oh man, that would look so good in pictures, having those drink. You know what? When I do my first promo picture for that game, I'm going to have that drink next to it. And you're going to know you are the inspiration.
There we go.
Or the person to blame, depending.
I am curious. Have you ever had a Belmont Jewel before?
No, never.
Oh, okay.
No.
Verla, what you got? Belmont Jewel.
I'm going to go with Splendor once you have the upgraded jewels that aren't just the little poker chip things, but the fancy ones that shine and sparkle and gleam, and they're just so pretty. And
I thought that was a softball. I was like expecting all these,
I almost got Ready Set Bet.
Ready Set Bet or Long Shot, the dice game, or one of those things.
Too obvious.
Yeah, you shocked me on this. Okay, maybe I was too obvious. Tommy, what do you think? We've got Diamonds, Ovation, and Splendor. Which one do you think, Tommy, should it be?
Ovation.
Diamonds, Ovation,
in the running.
Splendor.
In the running.
And we tie everybody up.
Sample.
I think you stumped Tommy. I don't think he's ever played Ovation.
Like
oh
Ovation.
My God, I'm wrong.
There it is.
Congratulations, Glenn. You got
You're
it.
in the running.
Wow. All right.
I don't want to work.
You get to pick the next one, Glenn.
Oh, I do. Hold on a second. That means I got to find that piece of paper.
So Tiny said, or I can throw them out for you. There's only 3 choices. You got
surprise me.
Manhattan, Bourbon and Blood, or Urban Bourbon Cowboy.
Oh, you got do a Manhattan. That's a classic one. Okay. People need to know what's in that and drink it.
So Manhattan, I've never had one, but it's bourbon's answer to the gin martini. I'm a vodka martini guy, not a gin martini, but I'm okay with the Manhattan. But that's some choices that I think you guys can come up with. Glenn, what you got for the Manhattan?
In the Manhattan, you put a little bit of the wine in there to mix with it. If it's a martini, I'm asking, is that what they're saying that the mix is in there?
I've never had one.
Oh,
Me neither.
Yeah, I've had them, but I don't know what's in it. I know I've just ordered it. Okay, so let's think here. What would be a good game? That sounds like a sipping drink. One that we're going to be leisurely. We're a little bit sophisticated. It's not for another month or 2 until we're separated and we're divided, see who gets the
This is a turn I wasn't expecting.
This is fun. You know what you're gonna play?
This is gumbo therapy here.
You're gonna play Marco Polo.
Okay.
I consider that a very sophisticated game. Okay. I love how
Marco Polo plays. 1 or 2?
1. I have 2 for years, and I've never played it.
Oh. Steve, Marco Polo is an interesting choice. I wasn't expecting that. Oh, we got a visitor on the show. Steve, what you think?
Hi.
Okay.
Hi.
Hello. Yeah, we're on a little TV show here. Okay?
Hello.
Yeah. You want to go back to mommy? Okay. Thank you. See you, little sweetie.
Oh,
pie.
Don't let her see Toby because she won't go to bed.
Yeah, that's right.
She'll want to pet Toby. So Manhattan, a Native American word for many hills. I did not know that until I took my tour of Central Park.
Manhattan.
But, Steve, Manhattan.
Manhattan. I took 2 things with this. I took the location for 1, but then I also went Simpsons for 2. There was an episode of The Simpsons when Bart became the bartender for the local mobster. And he would say, "Make me a Manhattan, boy. Make me a Manhattan." So I went to Godfather Corleone's Empire in Manhattan. Old school drink. Location gets it, but it just kind of struck me as something that you could hear the capo say, "Make me a Manhattan, boy."
So you're going
Corleone's Empire.
Corleone's Empire.
You're so fast with your answers. They're so well thought out. I'm very impressed.
That's why
this is what happens when you prepare.
No, that's why he's the name father, and he does this.
That is why he's the name father.
That's why he's the name father. All right, Berla.
That is his skill.
Great choices here. This is not what I was thinking. We got
the old
Manhattan,
kidney's good on that fella.
We got Marco Polo and Corleone's Empire. There's a lot of room between those 2 games.
We've staked out the edges. You've got the wide middle of the curve left.
There's a lot of years in between those 2 games.
There are.
Glenn with the fastball high. Steve had the slider low and away. You got a big old strike zone.
Marco Polo also knew and might have stayed and been a guest at Kubla Khan. A little FYI for you. I watched it on a documentary last night.
Right. What you got, Berla?
New York, 1901.
That was my second choice.
I like it.
I like it.
That was my first choice.
New York 1901. Right over there, one of my favorite games of all time.
Yeah.
Tiling.
Have you ever played it, Glenn?
You know what? I feel like I have. Is that by Days of Wonder?
That was by Blue Orange Games, designed by
yes.
Blue Orange. Yeah.
What won an award that year at Origins?
What's the last game Blue Orange put out? I feel like I haven't heard from them in a while.
Oh,
Good question.
Think of it.
But yeah, that's a great game. I think I did play it years ago, but it's vague. I have a vague impression that I played it somewhere. I've never owned a copy though.
Spelling.
I got to play with Berla. Yeah, I played it with you at BGG and with the Newmans. Tommy, what you got?
I went back and rebought a copy.
If Tommy doesn't have an opinion on this one, I do have one. Marco Polo, Corleone's Empire, and New York 1901. Let's see. time he was leaning towards you, New York 1901, but Godfather is a favorite game. He's giving it to Steve. Congratulations.
I was hoping Dylan was going to be here tonight because I was, pandering to the Meepletown crowd.
Oh, yeah.
Steve gets the tiebreaker, huh?
Okay.
I would have gone New York 1901, but I'm going to let Time Roller overrule me. You can always pander to the host, and that's worth a point.
That always works.
Steve, your choice.
All right. You said Urban Bourbon Cowboy, and I think that one has to happen.
Yeah, Urban Bourbon Cowboy. That's bourbon and black tea, agave simple syrup, and a little squeeze of lemon juice. Glenn, have you ever had a Urban Bourbon Cowboy?
No, but you said agave, and I love tequila.
Okay.
So there's my little connection to that. No. What game would go well with that? Holy smokes. Describe those ingredients one more time.
Bourbon, black tea, agave simple syrup, and a little squeeze of lemon juice.
Tea gives you a little bit of caffeine. So there's a little bit of upper in there. You're not totally down. So you're probably going to have your concentration and your wits about you a little bit.
Right.
You also, what is tea good for? Well, sometimes that can make you feel calm. So it's really coming at you from both sides. Something that's kind of in the middle. You'll have the attention span. You know what? And it's a little classy because it has tea. I'm going to go with Shakespeare, one of my favorite Euros of all time.
I've never played it. Shakespeare.
Oh, it is great.
Okay.
It is a great game. I bought my copy from Gil Hova. I think I picked it up at PAX Unplugged one year from him too. He's a great guy. He's a real character. If you know the guy, he made the game Networks.
Yep.
And he knows music like no one's business. Man, you want to talk about music? He's an encyclopedia. The Shakespeare, I think, has a lot of mechanisms. I can't believe it hasn't had multiple iterations, but has a lot of mechanics going on. It's like one of those, I would say, on the verge of modern Euro, where it has multiple games going on, stacking the sets and moving the people and playing the cards. And I would say it really was at the forefront of that whole movement of the multi mini game in one game kind of a frontier.
Next Station has been out with Blue Orange. That's been very popular too. Yeah, that's one. Steve, what you got? Shakespeare. That's one I wasn't expecting for Urban Bourbon Cowboy, but I'm
Nor was I.
Yeah. Do you want to go to Verla first? Because I feel like I'm going to steal hers.
Okay. Yeah, Verla. Verla, you have one?
I think so. Yeah.
If Steve thinks he's going to steal mine, I've got two, of course, but. You just go with Cowboys, not the urban part. Fistful of Meeples.
Okay.
Oh,
love it.
Nice. That game is great. That game is great.
Is so much fun.
It is, and that game is so thematic.
Very much so.
Yeah. Have you guys
played? I feel
played
like you could have some sweet tea there.
We've all played it. I'm pretty sure. Maybe not Steve.
It's like being in the OK Corral, and you're going around and you go see the madam if you need to.
Right.
Yep.
That thing. It is awesome. I love
have a shootout.
It's
Johnny
brilliant.
taught it to me at Essen in whatever year that was, 2019.
He has, and much to his credit, that game has had multiple reprints.
Really? I didn't know
as
that.
It should. It's an incredibly successful game.
It's still on my shelf. I play it, once every year, a couple of times a year, when we're just looking for something that's just kind of dumb fun, and there's gonna be a little bit of take that, but it's never like egregious take that. It's fun,
right?
Just enough player interaction.
And that one's so thematic.
Yeah, it pulls you in because you're going to the different bars in this Mancala style, and it feels like a little diorama. Like you're living in a little diorama, going around doing all the things.
Yeah.
It's really great. There's the town jail. Oh man, it's great.
It doesn't overstay its welcome either. It's like you play it and you're like, oh, that was perfect. It's like the perfect length game. It's perfect.
There's a brilliance in simplicity, and when you can achieve that, you've really hit the mark, and that has it in spades.
Very cool.
Steve, you've heard of the ocean, right?
I have
heard of the ocean.
So basically, right now we have Europe and we have America, and you got the ocean to throw your dart in.
The
Shakespeare
field is wide. You crossed me up, V. I thought I was sure as shooting you were going to go Great Western Trail.
That's what I thought.
That.
I was positive that was going to be it, and I thought
you guys
that was
know me really well.
Also, that you were going from city to city. You got to end up in Kansas City at the end, so you got the city part with the urban bit. So I was figuring not almost said Grand Austria Hotel, which is your other big favorite. But Great Western Trail was going to be my choice for that one.
I gave it to you. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
I had to go with my heart, man. Fistful of meeples.
All right, Tommy, you got to make a choice.
Trust it.
Tommy says, my first thought was Western Legends with Blood Money, but I'm going to go with Steve. Western Legends would have been great. Yeah,
that's a good call, too. Good
Steve
call.
wins another one. All right.
Time roller, the check's in the mail, my friend. That is solid.
We only have 2 left, and then we're going to declare the winner.
Right.
Okay.
Does Glenn have a chance at this point,
No.
Steve?
Yeah. Everybody has a chance. Everybody's still alive with 2 left.
Oh, okay.
Do the Bourbon
Glenn,
Blood, BJ.
Yeah.
Trust me that the last one that I do, it's usually something.
The last one's going to be worth 5 points and all of
7 million points or something.
Okay, great.
All right, so Bourbon and Blood is the next one. Bourbon and Blood.
Good catch-up mechanism there.
So I'm gonna explain a little bit more because to give you guys some ideas. It started in Hawaii. A bartender in Hawaii, I think it was Maui, where he did it. It uses bourbon, blood orange liqueur, which I love, sweet vermouth, some orange bitters, and a little orange peel for garnish. But the kicker is fresh tarragon. A lot of flavors there, Glenn.
It is like a herbaceous bourbon martini again, because martinis have vermouth in it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I won't start though. But okay, first of all, when I hear blood, I'm thinking about Chainsaw Massacre that just came out.
Okay.
You know? But oranges makes me think of Blue Orange Games. Isn't there some game that has like a big orange right on the front? It's citrus.
Asking for troubles.
Yeah.
Oh,
There
Big
you go.
orange.
Yeah.
You know
Well,
what?
I think Steve has one ready if you want, Glenn, if you want to let it percolate a little bit.
Steve, do it.
Okay. Citrus was one of my options, but the one that I probably would have gone with first is the one that actually has an orange fruit meeple in it.
Are you going to take
Finca.
mine? Oh, you took mine.
Oh, did I take yours?
That's fine.
Oh, Finca would be the one. It is an island. It's not. I mean,
thought you would go Finca. Yeah.
It's Mallorca. It's not, Hawaii, but the orange this, orange that, orange the third thing just made me think about those cute little orange meeples that you have to collect.
Mm-hmm.
You're going in a different direction on this one than I
And
thought.
some tarragon. I feel like that could be sprinkled in there in Finca.
Could be. It certainly is very, an earthy growing things environment there. So yeah, you get the fruit and the herbal, I think.
I want to see if Glenn follows that same track or he goes somewhere different. What you got, Glenn?
I'm looking for the game that I have in mind. Keep Verla, take your turn.
All right, Verla, you're up.
I have not played this in many years, but my second thought after Finca was Blue Lagoon. I think you're collecting fruit on there, possibly oranges.
That's Reiner Knizia, if I remember.
Is that Blue Orange also?
That's a
might be
Knizia
Blue
game,
Orange
but I don't
game.
think it's Blue Orange.
No.
Blue Lagoon. I don't remember who did it. I was really thinking you guys were going to go vampiric with the blood. And
I also could have gone
red.
Blood Rage.
That was another option too. Yeah.
Blood Rage.
I was thinking the one where you chase Dracula, or Fury of Dracula. That's
Fury
what I
of
was
Dracula.
thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Blue Lagoon was Blue Orange Games.
It was?
Okay.
I remember that. Yeah.
So all that
Verla embraces
percolating in my
that,
head.
and you've got the orange there.
That's what I'm totally embracing.
All right, Glenn, you got some tough ones to beat here. Finca and Blue Lagoon. That's 2 good choices.
Mm-hmm.
Well, while I can appreciate stiff competition, the first one that came to mind, other than going off the colors and just hearing the words, you really, I like to go for the flavors and the situation we're in. And once again, it is a little sophisticated, as we all are here with my poop jokes. And so the first one that came to mind, but this is going to be the runner-up because we're not reprinting it, is Swingin' Jive Cat Voodoo Lounge.
Oh, okay.
So this was about making drinks, and it is a brilliant game that Daily Magic put out.
Okay.
It has this really interesting board where you're moving around and you're socializing at a party. And it was really cool, really ornate. There's like these little cups that you're mixing things in. Really a standout game. If you want a unique experience, this is it. But I defer. I'm going to go to a game that is still available, I believe, and was made by a personal friend, and that is called On the Rocks.
I was thinking that, right? As you were
Yeah,
saying
that
the
game's
first one.
great.
Very
Yeah,
good.
that one's a lot. And they're working on a redo. I've been seeing development pictures and stuff like that. That one's really cool. Like they're moving marbles around. You're actually making your cocktails. That was a lot of fun too. And again, I know that we can enjoy complexities, but there is something where you can just have something really be satisfying when it is not overly wrought or complicated. And On the Rocks is exactly one of these. Like Mixtape, I will tell you. I mean, the rule book is what? It's like a pamphlet.
Yeah.
This one here, you can just get into it and play. Something I do like about 25th Century Games. Chad makes games that you can just read fast and play. He has a lot of great games. But yeah, I'm going to go with... what's that game where you have like a thought bubble?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
On the Rocks. That's what I'm
On the
going
Rocks. And that's from Pantry and 25th Century Games, right? If I
Yep.
remember right. Yep. All right. You got a tough choice there. Time Roller says, with the island, the fruit, he was thinking juicy fruit. Interesting. He played On the Rocks. Great game, but he's in, Finca to me was like the Reese's of this one, This is the one everybody was going to pick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Finca. Great game. Have you ever played Finca, by the way, Glenn?
What's that?
Played Finca?
Probably. It sounds familiar. The problem is a lot of these games I played at conventions.
Yeah.
So they kind of go in my head and out of my head.
The thing about Finca that you would remember is it's got like a windmilly rondelle that you're moving around to collect fruit.
Great rondelle.
That reminds me of there's a windmill game where you're growing rapeseed.
Yes, I have that. Sealand.
Oh, that's Sealand.
Sealand. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't played it, but it's not like Finca from what I remember.
No, I think that's more.
There's tile placement.
Yeah. It gets kind of mean at the end, if I remember right, in Sealand, right?
I think so. That's
parts of the landscape disappear or something, right?
It becomes hard.
Yeah.
But I really liked it and bought a copy. And then
all right, time for the surprise one. And this is the last one of the night.
All righty, what do we got,
all
BJ?
the marbles. Well, I want to hear the score, so I want to give everybody a chance to beat Steve.
It is now 4-1.
Oh, it's a 5-pointer then.
It's a 5-point game.
It's a 5.
I am shocked at this.
It's a 5-pointer, and it's called the Sazerac.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Okay.
Rinse of absinthe. You got to have the little absinthe in there.
Mm-hmm.
A sugar cube. A dash of cold water. 4 dashes of Peychaud, or as Liz Americans say, Peychauds. Peychaud's bitters. Some rye whiskey, and then you have to, this is critical, you have to have that lemon peel as the garnish, just kind of sneaking its way out of this nice chilled glass. And that you can find all over Big Easy, Crescent City, New Orleans, our favorite sleepy town, the city that time forgot, the Sazerac.
Which is supposed to, I think, was made by Sazerac, the company who makes the rye, right?
It was invented right there in, that's right, the Sazerac was invented right there in New Orleans. I had it at a great bar, the Tin Roof Bar, fantastic bar. You got a beautiful view of the city and the river. If you ever get a chance in New Orleans, make sure you go to Tin Roof Bar. The Sazerac. Let's go with Steve first. Steve, what you got? Sazerac.
Jeez. This is a tough one. Because I was expecting you to go Cylon in some way, and the answer was going to be Battlestar Galactica. I was expecting you to go further afield than something that was like, genuine, knowable, classic drink.
Glenn Evans says the Sazerac was invented by the famous Sarlacc.
Wasn't that like Johnny Carson's thing where he held a card against his head? And he was like,
that was Karnak. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Karnak the Magnificent.
Well, this is very much Louisiana, New Orleans, and you got to go with Orleans.
Orleans. Interesting choice.
Thank you.
Interesting.
Okay.
You like how I said that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't practice.
I did.
It just came off the tongue. Thank you.
I like it. My side tangent. My wife and I were debating, and I was asking her. We always say New Orleans. Everybody says New Orleans, but you hear people on ESPN say New Orleans, right? And I was asking about that. I said, "Do you find that ever strange?" She's like, "I've always found that really weird." I said, "Okay, what parish did you grow up in?" Jefferson Parish. What parish is right next to Jefferson Parish? Orleans Parish.
Yeah.
Like, You just said what they say on ESPN. Orleans. So it's don't ask me why people in New Orleans say New Orleans for the city, but say Orleans Parish for the parish. I have no idea.
Interesting.
There's all types of like verbal anomalies like that. I love etymologies, and so I'm always like talking about like root. I think it's really interesting, the roots of words and how things get phrased. I mean, it's almost like things like live and live. If you saw a piece of paper, you're like, what am I? Yeah, it is peculiar how it migrates. Who knows?
Orleans or Orleans, Steve? What's your thing?
So since you did not go silent on me, I'm going to say that a Sazerac is a drink that I would really enjoy, and that instead of thinking about theme, I would just say, once you got me one, I don't think I can stop. So can't stop.
Can't stop with the Sazerac. Okay.
Give me a refill.
That was a dad joke to end the night right there.
Yeah, well, we talked about it before. There's no such thing as a bad dad joke there by definition.
No, but I'm not getting, I'm not getting the
redundant.
seersucker suit. I'm not getting the hat. I'm not getting the fan slowly twisting as everybody's sweating.
You're not.
Yeah.
No, but you end up in a Chris Whitpan's basement.
Absolutely.
The parish is so old, they just leave the new out. That's right. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Berla, we got Orleans or Orleans and Can't Stop to pair. What goes well with the Sazerac?
I really wasn't familiar with most of what you're describing with that, but it really made me want to have one here.
There.
Oh!
That's someone who knows how to play the game. There you go, Berla.
Uh-oh.
Berla picked French Quarter. All right, Evan. Evan and Time Roller, what do you got here? We got Glenn says Orleans. Steve says Paret, and Verla says French Quarter.
French Quarter.
Thank you, Steve, for not taking that from me.
I would have said
I took thinking from you before. This is what goes around comes around.
I'm embarrassed to say I would have picked Crescent City Cargo, but you know what? French Quarter is a better choice.
Timer on has spoken. Oh, Big Easy.
Oh, I forgot about Big Easy busking. Oh, that's another good one. But Evan's breaking the rule because that's not the game. It looks like French Quarter is going to take it unless Evan wants to overrule timing.
That's the one.
I think it is. We're going to give it to over there. You do not win, Evan. Thank you for playing, Evan. So that's our new game. The what do we call it, Steve?
The Cardboard Certification Overlord Wins game.
And that's the Cardboard Bourbon Steward Certification game, a game we have long enjoyed, a staple here in the Gumbo. Thanks to our friends at Game Toppers LLC. Remember, make your game nights a showstopper when you play on a Game Topper. That's it for another episode of Gumbo Live. I want to thank my guest, Glenn Flaherty from Board Games and Bourbon, and from the Euro Board Games, and from Daily Magic Siege of Valeria, and from Mixtape with Talent Strikes. Thank you for coming in, Glenn.
How pleasure.
Can they, if people have questions, they want to hear some dad jokes, they don't understand what a C augmented minor is, where do they get in touch with you?
You just go to, on Twitter, I think my name is Games and Bourbon, and I think on Facebook, thank you. On Facebook, it's Board Games and Bourbon. And then I have the Euro game group on Facebook, which I think have 7,000. That's the best group because I
remember when you started this thing. It was like a couple of people.
I asked you to help. Yeah. And
I'm still a moderator.
It started just like now we're over like 7,000 people.
7,000 people.
Yeah. I have the print and play group, and we're over like 10,000 people in that group. And I started the Roll and Write group, and we have thousands in there too. So I got my fingers in all the stuff and all the pies.
They can find you over there. Make sure to like our Facebook page, facebook.com/BoardGameGumbo, and the YouTube channel. It helps us get the word out about all of our upcoming shows. Next week, we'll be back on Twitch. It's Twitch Tuesdays. We'll be in the Gumbo Pot playing your games live on Twitch at twitch.tv/BoardGameGumbo. I am BJ from Board Game Gumbo, and for Berla, and for Steve, and for Glenn. Until next time, laissez les bon temps rouler.
Good night, friends.
Bye, all.
Take care.